Queen Noamagbe Ewuare II is the fourth wife of Benin monarch, His Royal Majesty, Oba Ewuare II, and the Queen is also the biological sister of the Oba's fifth wife, Queen Isosa Ewuare II. On Thursday early morning night, Queen Noamagbe apparently used a proxy TikTok account named Queen Ewuare Backup and accused the Benin Traditional Council, BTC, of dishonest behavior, categorically stating, the BTC lied that Nigeria prominent social media streamer, Habib Hamzat Adelaja aka Pella, was not authorized access into the palace of the Benin monarch, where she accidentally met Pella and gave him a motherly welcome as the Queen of the Oba, an action the BTC has alleged she breached the palace protocol, hence, she risked being removed or sent packing from the palace, according to Queen Noamagbe in the apparent TikTok social media proxy account. Pella's visit to the palace is a mere cover-up, that a lot has been happening behind closed door. She supported her claim with a document that suggests the Benin Traditional Council was aware of Pella coming to the palace, and the document dated February 23, 2026 indicated that the BTC received and acknowledged the letter of Pella's planned visit, but, if the BTC actually wrote back to Pella to notify him about the acceptance or rejection of his request was not stated. This, the president of Iguabasanmi Movement Worldwide Armed Forces of Nigeria, AFN, has stated that its men resisted and pushed back a group of Islamic State of West Africa Province, ISWAP fighters at Malam Fatori area in the Abadam local government area of Borno State early morning on Wednesday, after the ISWAP fighters launched a simultaneous 5 multiple and separate offensive attacks against the troops of the Joint Task Force, Northeast Operation Hadankai. The Nigeria Army supported its press release with a video of dead bodies of the suspected terrorists, some of whom, according to the military authority, were well-known ISWAP commanders who led other terrorists to carry out the attacks. Lieutenant Sani Uba, the media information officer, Joint Task Force, Northeast Operation Hadankai, in a press release issued a few minutes ago, noted that Niger Republic Air Force supported in the killing of the terrorists and other defensive offensive military actions that finally forced other surviving terrorists to withdraw and flee in disarray. Accordingly, the press release reads verbatim thus: troops of the Joint Task Force, Northeast Operation Hadankai, OPHK, in the early hours of Wednesday successfully repelled a coordinated and simultaneous 5-pronged terrorist attack on own positions at Malam Fatori in Sector 3. The terrorists, who advanced in large numbers on foot and deployed armed drones in a desperate bid to breach the defenses of Nigeria military authority, has placed the citizens and residents in the West Africa country on a high alert over increased security threats in the country, following apparent multiple suicide bombings on Monday in the northeastern state of Borno State, wherein the Nigeria police force confirmed 23 people were killed and 108 other persons sustained injuries when bombs exploded almost at the same time at 3 different locations in Maiduguri, the state capital, at locations which included the post office area, Monday market access and the entrance to the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital, UMTH, during the period of iftar, breaking of fast, hours after the Borno State Command of the Nigeria Police Force had reported earlier on Monday that suspected Boko Haram, ISWAP terrorists made an attempt to infiltrate into the state capital with sporadic gunshots and explosions at Ajulari Cross, Kofa area of outskirt of Maiduguri Metropolitan Council, MMC, and Damboa Maiduguri Road in Damboa local government area. And the latest activities and official reports indicated that the ISWAP and Boko Haram terrorists may have advanced and taken some positions closer to the state capital. The Nigeria Police Force said, the Borno State Joint Security Operatives has begun aggressive patrols within the Maiduguri Metropolitan Council and appealed to residents to alert the security agency for emergency. There may be no doubt that Iran is apparently giving the United States, US a tougher time at the Strait of Hormuz, holding strong that none of its enemies and their allies will sail their ship through the Strait of Hormuz, an action that has since made the US President Donald Trump to make contradictory statements after the US Army obviously failed in its intimidating military campaign and destruction of the Iran naval base, airport control tower, helicopter hangars, naval mine storage, missile bunkers and anti-aircraft and ballistic missiles defense system, with a threat to destroy the oil lifeline of Iran at the Karg Island if Iran continued to block ship from sailing through the Strait of Hormuz. But yet, as at the time of filing in this report today, Iran remains deviant to US threat, with close watchers saying, Iran may not fight a traditional normal naval war with the US Marines who are currently on a high-speed traveling from their base in Japan to the Strait of Hormuz, of which, over 2,500 of the US Marines and sailors have been redeployed and apparently drawn from the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit, MEU, an elite rapid response force, and the Marines are traveling aboard an amphibious-ready group, ARG led by the assault ship USS Tripoli, LHA-7, an assault ship that can function as a lightning carrier, carrying F-35B stealth fighters and MV-22 Osprey transport aircraft and There may be no doubt that the year 2026 may not be a year of good record for some men and women of the armed forces of Nigeria. AFN, as multiple reports and official statements have confirmed that some numbers of Nigeria soldiers have been killed by Islamic State of West Africa Province, ISWAP, since the beginning of this year. Thus, the multiple reports suggest more than 180 Nigeria soldiers may have been killed in just 73 days into this new year 2026, which further indicated that an average of 2 to 3 soldiers are being killed daily in Nigeria by the ISWAP terrorists, who appeared to have increased the daily offensive attacks on Nigeria soldiers since the US-Israel joint war against Iran began on February 28, 2026. Although some close watchers accused the Nigeria military of always downplaying or reporting a very lower numbers of troops casualties, but the Nigeria Minister of Defense, General Christopher Musa, stated and confirmed during the week after security chiefs held a meeting with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the presidential villa in Abuja that a lot of Nigeria soldiers has been lost. But he insisted that contrary to some reports by the media, the terrorists and bandits are taking more casualties, specifically stating, their commanders are being killed every day, we are sure of victory. And some reports also suggest that the ISWAP terrorists are in. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that the State of Israel has a lot of organized plans of what yet to be done in Iran, specifically saying, regarding what we will do next in Iran, we have an organized plan with many surprises to destabilize the regime and enable change. We have many more targets, and I will not detail them here. Benjamin Netanyahu stated this on Saturday, a day before Mojtaba Khamenei was officially and publicly announced as the Iran's new supreme leader in Tehran's Vanik Square on Sunday, with residents in Middle East reporting with videos that Iran unleashed some numbers of massive waves of Fatah 2 hypersonic glide missiles straight at Israel shortly after the announcement of the Iran's new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, many believed to be much more aggressive than his father, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The announcement of the new supreme leader was made known after days. The US President, Donald Trump, stated that the US will have a complete control of Iran and determine its leadership, which in one of the occasions, President Donald Trump stated verbatim that, well, most of the people we had in mind are dead, we had some in mind from that group that is dead, now we have another group, they may be dead also based on reports. This, the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, in a nationwide message to the people of Israel on Saturday as made available by the office Foreign Minister of Iran, Abbas Araghchi, has said that Iranian soldiers are currently waiting for US ground troops to invade Iran, saying, the Iranians are prepared for any scenario. According to Araghchi, Iran is confident that its soldiers can confront US ground troops, and if the United States actually decided to begin ground troops invasion in Iran, it will be a disaster for the US because we know we can handle them, adding, Russia and China are supporting Iran in the ongoing war with the US and Israel politically and otherwise, and shortly after the Iran foreign minister made this known in an exclusive interview with NBC News Media on Thursday, the US Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, visited the US Central Command, CENTCOM headquarters at MacDill Air Force Base in Tampa area of Florida, apparently for a high-level briefing and next plan of action discussed with the CENTCOM commander, Admiral Brad Cooper. This, local media in Iran reported on Friday morning that the spokesperson for the Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, IRGC, Brigadier General Ali Mohammad Naini says the Iranian armed forces are ready for a long war to punish the aggressor. The war, which began last week Saturday, has led to the deaths of over 1,300 people in Iran, 12 in Israel and 6 US soldiers. According to the Iranian Red Crescent Society on March 6, 2026, United States President Donald Trump in a nationwide broadcast issued a few hours ago over the joint Israel-US military actions in the sovereign nation of Iran, has said that many Iranian soldiers are willing to surrender in order to save their lives, but the offensive US-Israel military war or combat on Iran continued, saying the joint military operations, codenamed Operation Epic Fury, has destroyed hundreds of Iranian targets since the military action began on February 28, 2026, including the killing of the Iran supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and the new joint war against Iran has resulted to the killing of more than 200 Iranian civilians and military personnel, with thousands of people injured, while over 12 persons have been killed so far in Israel, with estimated 500 people sustaining injuries, and the war has forced Iran to launch counterattacks on US military bases in Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates, UAE. This, Iran Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi had said Iran will not surrender, stating that, despite the massive airstrikes on Tehran, Iran's military capability remains intact, adding, Iran was able to retaliate faster than it did in the 2025 12-day war, and that its Mosaic defense doctrine makes it resilient to infrastructure damage. Araghchi called the United States, U.S. government under the leadership of President Donald Trump has ordered its citizens out of Lebanon, with the non-emergency citizens specially warned to avoid traveling to southern Lebanon. Although the U.S. Embassy in Beirut never mentioned Israel and Hezbollah possible new war in the Middle East as the reason for its action, but there are strong indications that the American government took the decision because of the possible military conflicts in the region. According to the U.S. government, it do not want America's citizens to travel to Lebanon due to crime, terrorism, civil unrest, kidnapping, unexploded landmines, and the risk of armed conflict, stating that some areas, especially near the borders, have increased risk, while information available on Monday indicated that Hezbollah is preparing to resume retaliatory strikes against Israel by rejecting U.S. ceasefire deal as Israel Defense Forces, IDF, continued airstrikes on Beirut. This, a joint press statement signed and made available on Monday by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the foreign ministers of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, the Federated Republic of Brazil, the French Republic, the Kingdom of Denmark, the Republic of Finland, the Republic of Iceland, the Republic of Indonesia, Ireland, the Arab Republic of Egypt, the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg, the Kingdom of Norway, Nigeria Police Force under the leadership of the Inspector General of Police, IGP Kayode Egbetoken, has kept mum since a video went viral on social media platforms, wherein allegation of bringing people illegally to settle inside forest in Edo State was made against the divisional police officer, the DPO, who is currently serving at the divisional police headquarters at Ugboha community in the Essen Southeast local government area in the state, a state that have witnessed rampant cases of kidnappings in recent time, especially since the beginning of this year, despite the fact that the Edo State Governor, Monday Okpebholo, has executed the destruction of numbers of houses or properties of apparent innocent landlords or people who may not have direct connection with the crime. It may be recalled that early 2025, the governor demolished a residential property on College Road simply because it was linked to a kidnapping gang operating in the Aduawa, Iyan, and Benin Auchi Road bypass axis, even when the building belonged to a woman based in Italy. Just that, her brother, Osamede Asamota, the alleged key leader of the gang, allegedly used it to coordinate abductions. This is just one of many properties demolished by the Edo state government over kidnapping in the state, yet, records of kidnappings in the state continued to grow higher. and recent police and military arrests indicated that Edo State is perhaps day after the Edo State Commissioner of Police. Monday, Agbonika personally led troops of joint security operatives at the dead of the night to launch offensive attacks against kidnappers in the forest. The commander, 4 Brigade of the Nigerian Army, Brigadier General Ahmed Balogun, also personally led troops of joint security operatives to the kidnappers' hideouts and launched massive military clearance and offensive actions against kidnappers. Both security operations led to the arrest of several suspected kidnappers allegedly caught in the act inside the bush, with the identities of the arrested suspects indicating that most of the kidnappers terrorizing Edo State are from the far northern part of Nigeria, an observation which appeared to have challenged the public policy statement made earlier in January 2026 by the Edo State Governor, Monday Okpebholo, who stated that many of those involved in the kidnapping surge in Edo State are indigenes of the area, saying, "That may be the reason some kidnappers wear face masks." The governor made this statement as kidnapping in the state appeared to have become worse in 2026 and very rampant in a manner that indicated that an average of 1 to 2 persons are being kidnapped in a day in Edo State, as more than 60 persons became new victims of the increasing criminal activities in the state since the beginning of 2026, like, in January 2, 2026, 2 brothers. In this write-up, a legal practitioner, Njoku Jude Njoku, pinpoints some fundamentals in the judgment passed against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu by Justice James Omotosho, which convicted and sentenced the Biafra Republic agitation leader to life imprisonment, and in this press release the legal practitioner issued in late 2025 entitled, "The 24th of November 2025, the day evidence ceased to matter in Nigerian courts, judicial silence, selective justice, and media complicity," described Justice Omotosho as unprofessional, stating that the most dangerous aspect of the judgment delivered by Justice James K. Omotosho is not merely that it reached a foreordained conclusion, but that it did so by deliberately suppressing evidence he already admitted on record in his own court, thereby converting adjudication into a procedural facade. This was not an error of law or an oversight of fact. It was a calculated refusal to engage with material evidence whose evaluation would have fatally undermined the prosecution's narrative, emphasizing that this case is no longer about one man. It is about whether courts may openly disregard admitted evidence and still be treated as legitimate, and whether the media will continue to mask such conduct through silence. A judiciary that can ignore evidence without explanation has ceased to function as a court of law. A media that refuses to question that silence has abdicated its public duty.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.